The arena floor gleamed under the bright lights that hung from the massive dome above. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy filled the seats, their voices creating a noise that echoed off the metal walls. Some had traveled for weeks to reach this place, the neutral ground where disputes were settled without war. Stood in the center of the arena, his four arms relaxed at his sides. His skin was dark blue and covered with natural armor plates that had turned aside blades and energy weapons for 15 years. He was 9 feet tall, and his eyes glowed with a faint yellow light. Those eyes had watched 247 opponents fall before him. Not one had ever landed a clean strike. The crowd roared as his latest opponent was carried out on a medical platform. The warrior had lasted longer than most, nearly 4 minutes before exhaustion claimed him, had not even broken his breathing rhythm. The arena master floated down from his observation platform. His species had no legs, just a body that hovered through some technology had never bothered to understand. His 3 eyes blinked in sequence as he spoke into the amplification field. Victory to of, the territorial dispute between and space is settled. The mining rights belong to the Dominion. The section of the crowd cheered. It was a small section. Most species found the too aggressive, too proud, but none could deny their warrior's skill. Walked toward the exit tunnel. His people would celebrate tonight, but he felt nothing. There was no challenge anymore. Every species in the galaxy knew his record. Most chose negotiation over facing him. Wait's voice stopped him. There is another challenge. Turned, another challenge in the same day was unusual. Most species needed time to select and prepare their champion. Who? The humans. The crowd's noise changed. Confusion mixed with laughter. Had heard of humans. They were new to the Galactic Council, barely 6 months since first contact. Their world was far out on the spiral arm, and they had only recently developed faster than light travel. The humans' voice carried his doubt. They wish to settle a dispute. Colony rights to the mining sector. The Council awarded it to them, but the Empire contests this. The humans have chosen to resolve it here rather than through years of legal proceedings. They were bureaucrats and lawyers, not fighters. If they had challenged the humans to arena combat, they must have been very confident the humans would refuse or lose. When do they send their champion? The humans are the challengers. They challenged you directly. The laughter in the crowd grew louder. Felt his first interest in months. Foolish, perhaps, but interesting. They understand the rules. First to 5 strikes wins. They have been informed. The match is scheduled for 3 days from now if you accept. Looked up at the crowd. He saw a section where humans sat, perhaps 50 of them. They were small compared to most species, standing barely 6 feet tall. Their skin came in various light shades, and they had only 2 arms. Nothing about them suggested combat ability. I accept. The crowd exploded with noise. Betting screens lit up across the arena, showing odds that made previous matches look competitive. 1,000 to 1 against the human. Some bookmakers offered higher. Over the next 3 days, learned what he could about humans. They came from a planet called Earth, which orbited a yellow star. Their world had high gravity, 1G compared to the 0.6G average of most civilized species. This meant their bones and muscles were denser, built to carry more weight. But that did not mean much in combat. They also came from a high-gravity world and had beaten 17 warriors. Strength was useful, but speed and skill determined victory. Humans had fought wars on their own planet for thousands of years. Their history was filled with violence, but also with art and music and philosophy. They were complex thought, dangerous in groups perhaps, but individually unimpressive. The arena master sent him information about the human champion. His name was Jake, age 34, former soldier in Earth's military. He had training in several human combat styles with names could not pronounce. His record showed no arena experience, no formal matches against other species. Watched video of human training exercises. They moved well enough for their size, quick and aggressive. But they were slow compared to him. His reflexes could process and react to threats in 0.15 seconds. The human average was twice that. On the day of the match, arrived early. He performed his ritual stretches and meditations. His trainer, an old named, wrapped his hands in the traditional way. Do not underestimate him, said. Unknown variables are dangerous. He is human, I know enough. You know data, you do not know the warrior. Did not respond, worried too much. It was why he was a trainer and not a fighter. The arena filled quickly. This match had drawn even larger crowds than usual. Beings who never attended combat came to watch the spectacle, the undefeated champion against an unknown human. Entertainment, at least, if not competition. Entered the arena floor to the usual cheers from his people and respectful silence from everyone else. Then the human emerged from the opposite tunnel. Jake was average height for his species, built solid but not large. He wore simple combat clothing that covered his torso and legs. His hair was dark and cut very short. His eyes scanned the crowd once, then focused on. There was no fear in those eyes, had seen fear many times. He had seen desperation and false confidence and rage. But this human showed none of those things. He looked calm, almost bored. They met in the center where waited. The arena master repeated the rules. 5 clean strikes to win. No weapons, no enhancement drugs. Combat ends when one fighter yields or is unable to continue. "Do you understand?" asked. "Yes," said. "Clear," the human replied. They took their positions 20 feet apart, settled into his defensive stance, all 4 arms ready to block from any angle. The human's stance was different from anything had studied. His feet were shoulder-width apart, hands loose at his sides, weight balanced but ready to move. Rose above them, begin. The crowd noise faded from his awareness. He watched the human waiting for the first move. They always moved first, always attacked, and when they did, he would counter. But something was wrong. The human was moving, but his mind could not process the speed. One moment Jake stood 20 feet away. The next moment pain exploded across his face. The crowd went silent. His defensive systems engaged. His 4 arms came up, his body shifted. But another impact struck his ribs, then his shoulder, then his jaw again, then his chest. He tried to move, tried to block, tried to process what was happening. But his body was still reacting to the first strike when the 5th one landed. His voice cut through the silence. 5 strikes to the human, match complete, victory to Jake of Earth. Stood frozen. His body registered the impacts now, delayed signals of pain that meant nothing. Around him, the arena had erupted into chaos. Voices screamed in a dozen languages. The betting screens flickered and went dark. He looked at the human, who had stepped back and was breathing hard. Jake met his eyes and gave a small nod. For the first time in 15 years, someone had hit 5 times. In less than 3 seconds, 3 days before the match, Jake sat in the human delegation quarters and tried not to think about the numbers. 1,000 to 1 odds. Every analyst in the galaxy said he would lose. Most said he would not land a single strike. "Stop reading the comments," Lisa Cooper said. She stood by the window that looked out over the arena district. Lights from 1,000 species establishments lit the artificial night. "They do not know what we know." Lisa was his handler, assigned by Earth's military to help him prepare. She was 30 years old, sharp-minded, and the only person who thought he had a chance. "What if you are wrong?" Jake asked. "What if Earth gravity is not enough? Then we lose mining rights to a sector we just gained and nothing changes. But if you win, everything changes. Humans stop being the new species everyone ignores. We become the species that defeated." Jake stood and walked to the window. Out there, thousands of beings lived and worked and never thought about Earth. Humanity was barely a footnote in galactic history. 6 months ago, nobody knew they existed. "Tell me again," he said, "about the gravity." Lisa pulled up a holographic display. "Most species evolved on worlds with 0.6 g or less. Their bones are lighter, their muscles designed for lower weight loads. Earth has 1 g. Everything on our planet evolved to handle more mass, more pressure. Has beaten high-gravity species before. Not like Earth, the worlds are 0.8 g, still lighter than home, and they are large, strong, but not fast. You are different." She changed the display to show reaction time data. Human reaction time averages 0.15 to 0.2 seconds, but that is average. Trained fighters, people like you, can hit 0.08 seconds in optimal conditions. Do you know why? Jake knew, but he let her explain. It helped her think. "Earth is a death world," Lisa said. "Predators everywhere, poisonous plants, extreme weather. Humans evolved to react instantly or die. Every other species in the galaxy evolved on easier worlds. They did not need those reflexes. Has reflexes, he has never been hit." His reflexes are 0.15 seconds. Excellent by galactic standards, but you are faster. On Earth, 0.15 seconds means the tiger catches you, the snake bites you, the enemy shoots first. Jake watched the arena lights, so the plan is to move before he can react. The plan is to move so fast he does not register the threat until you have already struck. His brain will process your initial movement, send signals to defend, but you will already be hitting him a second time. By the time his defense activates, you will have landed all 5 strikes. In theory. In practice, I watched all 247 of his matches. He never faces the opening. He always waits, counters, wears down his opponent. Nobody has ever attacked him with pure speed because nobody has your speed. Jake wanted to believe her, but doubt was part of him, trained into him by years of combat. Confidence got soldiers killed. Healthy respect for the enemy kept them alive. The next 2 days were training, not learning new techniques, just sharpening the ones he had spent his life developing. Speed drills, burst movements, closing distance in the shortest time possible. Lisa had arranged for him to train in reduced gravity, simulating the arena conditions. It felt strange at first, too light, like he might float away. But his body adjusted. The muscles that carried his weight on Earth found extra speed when that weight decreased. Faster, Lisa called. You have maybe 2.5 seconds before his defensive instincts override his confusion. 5 strikes in 2.5 seconds. Jake moved through the drill. Strike 1, move, strike 2, angle shift, strike 3, drop under imaginary counter, strike 4, final position, strike 5. Again, and again, and again. His body learned the pattern. His muscles memorized the movements until thought was not required. That was the goal. Think and he would be too slow, react on pure instinct and he might be fast enough. On the morning of the match, Jake ate breakfast with the rest of the human delegation. Ambassador stopped by their table. No pressure, said, but if you win, you open doors for every human who comes after you. If you lose, we are still the new species nobody takes seriously. That is definitely pressure, Jake replied. Smiled, you volunteered for this, you knew what it meant. I did. Jake had volunteered because someone had to. When the Empire challenged Earth's colony rights, the Council offered 2 choices, years of legal battles or arena combat. Earth's lawyers were still learning galactic law. Combat was simpler. The message had gone out through Earth's military. They needed a volunteer, someone trained in close combat, someone willing to fight an undefeated champion for humanity's reputation. Jake had been teaching combat skills to new soldiers. His fighting days were supposed to be over. But he had watched the video watched the way the alien moved, the way he fought. And Jake saw something others missed, had never faced someone truly fast. All his opponents were strong or skilled or experienced. None were fast. So he volunteered. Lisa believed in the plan. Command approved it. And now, 3 hours from the match, Jake sat in quarters and tried to keep his hands from shaking. Nervous? Lisa asked. Yes. Good, fear keeps you sharp. Overconfidence is what kills fighters. They arrived at the arena 2 hours early. Jake changed into his combat clothes, simple and light. He wrapped his hands carefully, protecting the bones without restricting movement. He stretched, focusing on his breathing. Lisa went over the plan one more time. You explode forward the instant says begin. Do not wait. Do not assess. Move. I know. Strike his face first. High target away from his center mass. While he processes that, go for the ribs, then shoulder, back to the face. Finish with the chest. 5 different targets, 5 different angles. His defenses cannot cover everything at once. I know. After you land the 5th strike, get out of range immediately. He will be confused, maybe angry. Do not give him a chance to respond. Lisa, Jake looked at her. I know the plan. I have been practicing it for 3 days. She nodded. Right, sorry, I just want this to work, me too. The arena was filling. Jake could hear the crowd noise growing louder. Soon it would be time. Strainer appeared at their preparation room door. The old nodded respectfully. The champion wishes you luck. He says you are brave to face him. Tell him I appreciate that, Jake said. After left, Lisa raised an eyebrow. Brave or stupid? Maybe both. The call came, time to enter the arena. Jake walked down the tunnel, Lisa beside him until she had to branch off to the observation area. She squeezed his shoulder once. "Show them what Earth makes," she said. Then Jake was alone, walking into the light and noise. The crowd was massive, larger than any he had ever seen. Voices called out in languages he did not understand. The betting screens showed his odds, still 1,000 to 1. He looked across the arena floor and saw 9 feet of muscle and armor and perfect combat record. The alien was watching him with those yellow glowing eyes. Jake felt his heart rate increase, felt the adrenaline start to flow. This was it. All the training, all the theory, all the hopes that humans could compete in this galaxy. It came down to the next few minutes. They met in the center, explained the rules. Jake barely heard the words. His focus narrowed to the distance between them, to the attack pattern burned into his muscle memory. 20 feet apart, took his defensive stance. Jake stood loose, ready. Every nerve in his body was alive, every sense heightened. This was what humans were built for, the moment before the fight, the instant when reaction speed meant survival. Rose above them. The word hung in the air for a microsecond. Then Jake's body was already moving, muscle memory taking over where thought would be too slow. 20 feet separated them. Jake covered it in 4 steps, each one pushing hard against the arena floor. The reduced gravity helped, let him move faster than he could on Earth. His right arm was already cocked back, fist tight. Saw him coming. The alien's forearms began to rise, defensive patterns engaging. But those patterns were based on 15 years of fighting opponents who moved at normal galactic speeds. Jake was not normal. The first strike caught high on the left side of his face, just below the eye. Jake felt the impact travel up his arm, felt the solid resistance of alien bone structure. But he was already pivoting, already moving to the next target. His brain registered the hit, pain signals fired, defensive protocols activated. His upper arms swept to cover his face, his lower arms guarding his center mass. Standard response practiced thousands of times. But Jake was not where defense expected him to be. He had dropped low and left, under the sweeping arms. His second strike hammered into his ribs on the right side, below the natural armor plates where the joints were vulnerable. The crowd was starting to react. Voices rose in confusion and disbelief. But to Jake, the noise was distant, unimportant. Only the target mattered, only the plan. His lower arms moved to protect his ribs. His body was turning, trying to face this impossibly fast opponent. His mind was processing, human, fast, dangerous, adjust defense, counter-attack. But those thoughts took time, milliseconds, and Jake was fighting in fractions of milliseconds. Third strike, Jake used turn against him, coming up and around to hit the alien's left shoulder joint. The impact sent shock waves through his arm, temporarily disrupting the muscle control. One arm dropped slightly. Now was truly alarmed. 3 hits, in barely over a second. This was not supposed to be possible. The human was too fast, moving in ways that his understanding of combat. His defensive stance was full now, all 4 arms up, body compact, protecting vital areas. But protection meant prediction. It meant assuming the attacker would follow logical patterns, strike at defended targets. Jake had trained for this exact moment. When the defense is complete, when every guard is in place, that is when you find the gap. He feinted left. Arms shifted to cover. Jake went right, fast as lightning, his fist arcing up and around the guard to strike's face again, the right side this time, the 4th strike. Staggered, not from pain, though the hits hurt, from confusion, from the complete failure of everything he knew about combat. His reflexes were firing, his defenses active, his body moving to counter. But the human was always one move ahead, always hitting before the defense arrived. Jake saw the opening. His chest protected by natural armor but not by arms. The alien's hands were up, covering his face and shoulders. His lower arms were protecting his ribs and sides. The center was exposed for just a fraction of a second. 5th strike, Jake planted his feet and drove his fist straight into his chest plate. The armor there was thickest, and the impact sent pain shooting through Jake's hand. But the rules did not require damage. They required clean strikes. And this was the cleanest of all, a direct hit to center mass with full force. Jake pushed back immediately, creating distance. His training screamed at him to never stay close after an engagement. Create space, assess, prepare for counterattack. But there was no counterattack. Stood in the center of the arena, all 4 arms raised, body tensed for combat that was already over. His yellow eyes were wide, his breathing quick. He looked like a warrior ready for battle, except the battle had finished before he fully registered it had begun. The arena was silent. Thousands of beings, voices from 100 species, all shocked into stillness. Jake could hear his own breathing, harsh and quick. His right hand throbbed where he had hit chest armor. His heart hammered against his ribs. Then's voice cut through the silence, amplified across the arena. 5 strikes to the human, match complete, victory to Jake of Earth. The arena exploded. Voices screamed in shock and excitement in disbelief. Some cheered, others shouted protests. The betting screens flickered wildly as systems tried to process what had happened. 1,000 to 1 odds, the biggest upset in arena history. Jake barely heard it. He stood with hands at his sides, breathing hard, watching. The alien had not moved. He stood frozen, processing. Jake knew that feeling, the moment when reality does not match expectation, when everything you thought you knew proves wrong. Lowered his arms slowly. He looked at Jake, really looked at him for the first time. Then he did something Jake did not expect. He bowed his head slightly, a gesture of respect. Jake returned the gesture, a simple nod. No words were needed, one warrior acknowledging another. Floated down between them. His 3 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of excitement in his species. The match is, arena sensors confirm 5 clean strikes in 2.3 seconds. The victory stands. Colony rights to the mining sector are awarded to Earth. Security personnel moved in, forming a barrier between Jake and the crowd. Some species were celebrating. Others were angry, shouting about impossible results, demanding investigations. A few fights had broken out in the stands between winners and losers of bets. Lisa appeared at Jake's side, security escort behind her. Her face showed barely controlled excitement. "You did it, exactly as planned. 5 strikes, 2.3 seconds. "Is my hand broken?" Jake asked, flexing his fingers. Pain shot through the bones, but everything moved. "Probably bruised. We will get you to medical, but first you need to say something. The whole galaxy is watching." Jake looked up at the camera drones floating around the arena. Of course they were broadcasting. The undefeated champion's first loss would be news everywhere. "What do I say?" "Whatever you want. You just changed how the galaxy sees humanity." Jake thought about that, thought about Earth, about all the humans who would come after him to this galaxy. What did they need to hear? He spoke toward the nearest camera, keeping his voice calm. "I am Jake from Earth. I did not win because I am better than, I won because I am different. That is what humans bring to the galaxy. We are different, and different has value." Simple words, but they would do. Medical staff arrived, a doctor whose species specialized in treating multiple biological types. She scanned Jake's hand with devices he did not recognize. "Hairline fracture in 2 bones, painful but not serious. We will heal it." As she worked, Jake watched leave the arena. The alien walked with his head high, not slumped in defeat. He had lost, but he had not been broken. That was good. Jake had not wanted to break him, just beat him. The human section of the crowd had pushed through to the arena floor. Ambassador was there, smiling wider than Jake had ever seen. "Do you understand what you just did? Every human in council space just gained respect. Negotiations that were stalled will move forward. Contracts that will be reconsidered. You opened doors." "I just followed the plan," Jake said. "No," Lisa said quietly. "The plan was theory, you made it real, and you did it perfectly." The next hour was chaos. Interviews, medical checks, formal statements to the arena authority. The Empire's representatives filed an official complaint, demanding investigation into human enhancement drugs. The tests came back clean, as Jake knew they would. No drugs, just Earth biology and training. Finally, Jake made it back to the human quarters. His hand was wrapped in a regeneration cast that would heal the fractures in 2 days. His body ached from the explosive movement, muscles protesting the speed he had demanded from them. But he was alive, whole, and victorious. He sat by the window, looking out at the arena district. The lights seemed brighter now, or maybe that was just his perception. Everything seemed different. Lisa sat beside him. "Analysis is coming in from across the galaxy. Scientists wanting to study human reaction times. Military strategists reassessing their threat evaluations of Earth. The betting houses are all complaining about their losses." "Good," Jake said. "Tomorrow's people want to meet, formal discussion about the match. They are not angry, just confused. They want to understand what happened." Jake thought about, standing frozen in the arena, his entire understanding of combat challenged in 2.3 seconds. I will meet with them. He deserves to know. The Council wants you to testify about human capabilities. They are considering reclassifying Earth as a high-threat world. Watch the arena footage for the 47th time. His quarters were dark, the only light coming from the holographic display that showed his defeat from multiple angles. He slowed the playback to quarter speed, then half, then frame by frame. The human moved, defense engaged, but the human was already striking a second time before his arms reached their defensive positions. By the time his body processed the second strike and adjusted, the third was landing. Fourth, fifth. 2.3 seconds. His entire undefeated record destroyed in less time than it took most beings to recognize a threat. Entered without knocking, the old trainer carried food though had no appetite, still watching. I am trying to understand. Understand what, that you lost? I did not lose to superior skill. I lost to something I have never encountered. I need to know what that something is. Set the food down and looked at the frozen image. Jake, mid-strike, body coiled like a spring releasing all its energy. The human is fast. Fast does not explain it. I have fought fast opponents. They are fast. They are incredibly fast, but they telegraph their movements. Their bodies prepare and I see it coming. This human showed no preparation. He simply moved. Perhaps that is what you need to understand, how humans move. The next morning, Ambassador sent a message. The delegation had requested a meeting with Jake. Not official, not for the council. Private discussion between warriors. Jake agreed. Lisa wanted to come, but he said no. This was between him and some conversations did not need handlers or diplomats. They met in neutral quarters, a simple room with furniture sized for different species. Was already there when Jake arrived, standing by the window that looked out over the station's commercial district. The alien turned as Jake entered. Jake's voice was deep, rumbling. His translator converted the sounds to English. Jake sat in a human-sized chair. His hand was still healing, but the pain was less today. They studied each other in silence, two fighters each trying to understand the other, finally spoke. I have reviewed the match footage many times. I still do not understand how you moved that fast. I trained for it my whole life. That is not an answer. Many species train, none move like you did. Jake considered how to explain. What do you know about Earth? Your planet has high gravity. 1G, your species evolved there over millions of years. Yes, but it is not just the gravity. Earth is dangerous in ways most worlds are not. We have predators that can kill in seconds. Poisonous animals and plants everywhere. Extreme weather that changes without warning. Diseases, natural disasters, hostile environments. Listened, his forearms relaxed, but his attention complete. Humans evolved to survive all of that, Jake continued. Our bodies developed fast reaction times because slow meant death. A snake strikes in a fraction of a second. A predator attacks without warning. Weather turns deadly in minutes. We had to be able to react faster than the threat. Other species face threats. Yes, but not like Earth. Most civilized worlds have lower gravity, fewer predators, more stable climates. Your people, are warriors. But you come from a world that allowed you to become warriors. Earth forced us to be survivors first. Walked to a seat and lowered himself into it. The furniture groaned under his weight. So your speed is evolution, biology. Partly, but also training. On Earth, we have martial arts that go back thousands of years. Different cultures, different styles, all focused on making the body move faster, strike harder, react quicker. I started training when I was 6 years old. For 28 years, I have been learning how to move. To move like you did in the arena. To move like humans can when we need to. That match was not just me. It was every human who trained me, every teacher who pushed me, every evolution that shaped our species. Was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, "Did you know you would win?" No, I thought I might. Lisa, my handler, believed the theory, but theory and practice are different. You could have adapted faster. Your defense could have caught me. I did not know until the fifth strike landed. I felt helpless, admitted. For the first time in combat, my body could not keep up with my mind. I saw you coming, understood the threat, commanded my defenses, but you were always ahead of my response. That was the plan. Move faster than your reflexes could process. It worked. Stone held something Jake had not expected, respect. You are a skilled warrior, Jake, different from what I have faced, but skilled. You are skilled too. If the match had gone longer, you would have adapted, found my patterns, countered my speed with strategy. Perhaps, but the match did not go longer. You won in the opening before I could adapt. That is also skill. They talked for another hour. Asked about Earth, about human combat styles, about how Jake trained. Jake asked about warrior culture, about 15 years in the arena. By the end, Jake understood something important. Was not angry about losing, he was curious. A true warrior wanted to learn, to grow, to face new challenges. The defeat had not broken him, it had excited him. Would you fight me again? Asked as Jake prepared to leave. Under what terms? Not for stakes, not for territory or rights, for learning. A second match in private where we can both understand what happens when Earth speed meets skill. Jake smiled. I would like that, but give me time to heal and to prepare. You will adapt to my speed now that you have seen it. Yes, I will be ready next time, will you? We will see. News of their meeting spread quickly. The galaxy watched the undefeated champion and the human who defeated him share a meal, discuss combat, part as friends rather than enemies. It changed the narrative. This was not about humiliation or domination. It was about understanding. Lisa showed Jake the reports coming in from across council space. Human diplomats were finding doors open that had been closed before. Trade agreements that had stalled were moving forward. Species that had ignored Earth were requesting meetings. You changed the perception, Lisa explained. Before we were the new species from nowhere. Now we are the species that beat. That makes us interesting, valuable. And dangerous, Jake added. Some of these reports are military assessments. They see Earth as a threat now. Some, yes, but most see potential. Allies who are strong are valuable. Nobody wants humans as enemies, but everyone wants to know if we can be friends. Ambassador called a meeting of the human delegation. Jake attended, feeling out of place among diplomats and scientists, but insisted. The Council is reassessing Earth's role, explained. Before your match, we were marginal, observers more than participants. Now, several species want to establish formal alliances. They have offered technology sharing. They want joint military exercises. Even the who you beat for territory are requesting talks. Because of one fight, Jake asked. Because of what that fight proved. Humans can compete with established species. We bring something unique. And in a galaxy where most species are very similar, unique has value. Pulled up a star map showing Council space. Earth's location was always considered remote, unimportant, but strategically we control access to an entire spiral arm. If humans prove reliable allies, that position becomes valuable. So we use arena victory for political advantage, Jake said. We use everything we have. That is what survival requires. Over the next week, Jake became something he never expected. A symbol. Humans across Council space saw footage of the match, heard his words afterward. Young people sent messages saying they wanted to join the military, to train, to show the galaxy what humans could do. Scientists wanted to study his reflexes. Military commanders wanted him to teach their soldiers. It was overwhelming. Jake had volunteered to fight one match. He had not signed up to be a celebrity or a symbol or a teacher to the galaxy. But Lisa reminded him of something important. You said it yourself after the match. Humans bring difference to the galaxy. That difference has value. People need to see that value, understand it, learn from it. You are the proof. Jake watched the recordings of himself, the interviews and analyses. He saw what others saw, not just a fighter who won, a representation of human potential, Earth's introduction to the galaxy. If I do this, he said to Lisa, if I become this symbol, I need to do it right. No arrogance, no claims that humans are better, just different. We show respect to other species while demanding they respect us. Agreed. And I want to keep training with, that friendship matters. It shows that defeat does not mean hostility. That understanding comes from interaction, not isolation. The Council would support that. Relations between Earth and the Dominion have been cold. Your friendship with could warm them. Jake thought about the alien warrior, reviewing footage of his defeat, trying to understand. Two fighters from different worlds finding common ground in combat. Maybe that was how species learned to live together. Through challenges that forced understanding. 6 weeks after the match, Jake stood before the Galactic Council and felt more nervous than he had in the arena. At least in combat, he knew what to do. Speaking to representatives of 50 species about human capabilities was different. The council chamber was massive, circular, with seating arranged in tiers that rose toward a domed ceiling. Each species had their section, their own environmental controls, their own translation systems. At the center, a speaking platform where Jake stood alone. Ambassador had helped him prepare remarks. Keep them simple, focus on cooperation rather than competition. Show that humans wanted to contribute, not dominate. Members of the council, Jake began. His voice was amplified across the chamber. I am Jake from Earth. Some of you know me from the arena. Today, I want to help you understand what that match really meant. He pulled up a holographic display showing Earth. The blue and green planet rotating slowly, clouds moving across the surface. This is my world. High-gravity, aggressive weather filled with life that competes for survival every day. Humans evolved in this environment. We adapted to it. The display changed, showing human anatomy. Muscle structure, neural pathways, reaction time charts. Our bodies are built for quick response, not because we are superior, but because our planet demanded it. Every species adapts to their home world. We adapted to ours. A representative spoke up, translator converting their clicking language. You say you are not superior, but you defeated our greatest arena champion in seconds. I defeated using tactics designed specifically for him. In a different match with different rules, the result might be different. I had one advantage, speed. But speed alone does not make a species valuable. Jake changed the display to show cooperative ventures between species. What makes any species valuable is what they contribute. Humans bring fast reaction times, yes. But we also bring our history of cooperation under pressure, our experience solving problems on a difficult world, our perspective as newcomers who see the galaxy with fresh eyes. A counselor asked, what do humans want from the council? The same thing every species wants, to be heard, to be respected, to contribute to something larger than ourselves. Earth is one planet in a galaxy of thousands, but we have something to offer. Let us prove it through action, not just words. The session went on for 2 hours. Questions about human biology, about Earth's military capabilities, about intentions and goals. Jake answered honestly, admitting what he did not know, explaining what he did. By the end, the mood in the chamber had shifted. Not everyone trusted humans yet, but everyone understood them better. That was progress. After the session was waiting outside the chamber. The warrior had attended, sitting in his delegation section, listening. You spoke well, honest without showing weakness. I tried. Politics is not my strength. Fighting is your strength, but perhaps you are learning new skills. They walked together through the station corridors. Over the past weeks, they had trained together several times. Studying human techniques, Jake learning defensive strategies. A friendship had grown from mutual respect and shared love of combat. I have a proposal, said. My people want to establish a training program, warriors learning from human instructors. Would you help design it? Your people want to learn from us. After watching you move, yes. We thought we understood combat. You showed us we have more to learn. Pride should not prevent growth. Jake thought about that. Warriors training in human techniques. The blending of two combat philosophies. I would need approval from Earth's military command. I have already spoken with Ambassador. She believes it would strengthen relations between our peoples. Then yes, I will help. Lisa found them in the training district, sharing a meal at a restaurant that served food compatible with both human and biology. She looked excited. We have a situation. Could be bad, could be an opportunity. Jake set down his food. Explain. Pirate fleet hit a civilian colony in the outer rim. Settlement, mostly families. The local defense force drove them off, but intelligence says they will come back with reinforcements. The council is debating response options. Why is that our problem? Jake asked. Because they have formally requested assistance. They asked specifically for human tactical support. They want the species that beat to help them. Size glowed brighter, a sign of interest. Pirates are cowards who prey on the weak. They should be eliminated. They feel the same way, Lisa said. Your people have offered ships and warriors, but they lack experience with this particular pirate group. The Ravagers, they use hit-and-run tactics, strike fast and disappear before major forces arrive. Jake saw where this was going, and someone suggested combining strength with human speed. Ambassador suggested it to the Council 2 hours ago. A joint task force, providing the main battle force, humans providing tactical fast response teams. Your friendship with is being cited as proof the species can work together. Using us as a symbol again, Jake muttered. Yes, but also as an effective military force. The Ravagers have been operating for 5 years, dozens of attacks. Nobody has stopped them because they are too fast, but humans are faster. Leaned forward. I would volunteer for such a mission. Fighting beside humans would be instructive. It would also be dangerous, Jake said. These are not arena matches with rules, real combat, life and death. I am aware. Are you interested? Jake thought about the families, about pirates who preyed on civilians, thought about Earth's place in the galaxy, about proving humans could contribute. I need to talk to my command, but if they approve, yes, I am interested. The approval came within a day. Earth's military saw the value in joint operations, in building alliances through shared combat. 10 human soldiers were assigned to the task force, Jake included, 50 warriors including. They met at a military station to plan the operation. The provided intelligence on the Ravagers' pattern. Strike a colony, retreat to a hidden base, return for a second larger raid when defenses are weakened. The second raid was when they did real damage. We need to be there for the second raid, Jake said, studying the tactical displays. Let them think the colony is weak, then hit them hard when they commit. A commander named Vex studied the plan. You propose we hide our forces and ambush them. Yes, the Ravagers are used to running from superior forces, so we do not show our superiority until they are committed to the attack. By then, it is too late for them to run. Pirates deserve no honor, Vex said. I approve this tactic. The joint force deployed to the colony 3 days later. The colonists were moved to underground shelters. Human and forces positioned themselves in hidden locations around the settlement. Sensor-dampening fields masked their presence. To any approaching ship, the colony would look poorly defended and vulnerable. Jake crouched behind a reinforced barrier with his team, watching the sky through enhanced vision systems. Beside him, another human soldier named Greg checked his weapons. Think they will take the bait. If their pattern holds, yes. They hit this colony once, lost ships but did damage. They will want revenge and whatever resources they can steal. Was positioned with his warriors on the opposite side of the settlement. They had communication links, could coordinate in real time. 2 species, different tactics, one goal. The wait took 4 hours. Then sensors detected incoming ships. 12 vessels, more than the Ravagers had used in their first attack. They were confident, expecting an easy victory. The pirate ships descended, weapons charging. They began scanning the settlement, looking for targets. Jake watched through his scope, counting ships, identifying weapon systems. All teams hold position, wait for my mark. The Ravagers opened fire on empty buildings, destroying structures that had already been evacuated. They were trying to draw out defenders, make them panic. Standard pirate tactics. Mark, Jake said quietly. Humans moved first, fast assault teams hitting the grounded ships before the pirates realized they were under attack. Jake's team breached the nearest vessel, taking the crew by surprise. Training took over, muscle memory and reaction speed overwhelming shocked pirates. Then the forces revealed themselves, led the charge, his warriors moving with coordinated precision. The pirates tried to lift off, tried to run, but human teams had already disabled their primary systems. The ships were grounded. The fight lasted 12 minutes. When it ended, the pirate fleet was captured or destroyed. Not one escaped. 0 casualties among the joint force or colonists. In the aftermath, Jake stood with among the damaged buildings. Colonists were emerging from shelters, seeing their settlement saved. Children ran to their parents. Families held each other. This is why we fight, said. Not for glory or territory, for this, for families who can live in peace. Agreed. Vex approached, his armor scorched but his body unhurt. The human tactics worked perfectly. Fast strikes, coordination, surprise. We should train together more often. I think that can be arranged, Jake replied. News of the successful operation spread quickly. A joint human force had eliminated a pirate threat that had plagued the Outer Rim for years. The Council praised the cooperation. Military analysts studied the tactics. Requests came from multiple species for similar joint operations. Back on the station, Ambassador was smiling again. Do you understand what you have done? Not just defeated pirates. You showed that humans and can work together effectively, that our differences complement each other. It was not just me, Jake said. It was everyone on that team. Yes, but it started with you, with one arena match that changed how the galaxy sees us. Jake sat with Lisa in their quarters, looking at reports of the operation. Human soldiers were being requested for training programs across Council space. Trade agreements were expanding. Earth's influence was growing. We came to the galaxy 6 months ago, Lisa said. Nobody knew who we were. Now we are partners with the allies of the respected by the Council, all because you landed 5 strikes in 2.3 seconds. It is strange how one moment can change everything. That moment changed you too. You were a combat instructor. Now you are building bridges between species. Jake thought about the warrior who had become a friend, about Vex and the other warriors who trained beside humans, about the families safe because different species chose to work together. Maybe that is what humans really bring to the galaxy, he said. Not just speed or strength, but the idea that different species can accomplish more together than apart. Is that what you believe? It is what I have seen. In the arena, I fought alone and won. But against the pirates, we fought together and won better, more complete. No casualties, the colonists safe. That is worth more than any individual victory. A message came through from, he wanted to train tomorrow, work on combined tactics. Jake smiled and accepted. 6 weeks ago, they had been opponents. Now they were partners, friends, building something new. The galaxy was vast, filled with species that had known each other for centuries. Earth was new, uncertain, still finding its place. But Jake had helped show one truth. Humans belonged here, not because they were fastest or strongest, but because they were willing to learn, to adapt, to work alongside others. In the arena, he had struck 5 times before could react. In the galaxy, he had helped build cooperation that would last far longer than any match. That was the real victory, not the fight won in seconds, but the understanding that would span years. Jake looked out at the station, at the ships coming and going, at the diverse species living and working together. This was humanity's future now, part of something larger, contributing their unique perspective, learning from others while teaching what they knew. It had started with one fight. It would continue with thousands of partnerships, friendships, and shared victories. That was what they said no one had ever done, but Jake had done it. And now the whole galaxy knew that humans could not only strike fast, they could also build lasting bonds across species and stars. His hand had healed completely now. The fractures were gone, the regeneration cast removed. Jake flexed his fingers, testing. Everything worked perfectly. Ambassador had asked him to speak at a council session about human capabilities. Not to brag, but to explain. Help other species understand what made humans different so they could work together effectively. Jake was not a public speaker, but he was a representative of Earth now, whether he wanted to be or not. The galaxy was watching. Time to show them that the human who beat was not just fast. He was thoughtful, respectful, and ready to build bridges between worlds. We are not a threat. No, but you are definitely not weak, and that changes everything. Jake closed his eyes, tired, so tired, but satisfied. He had done what he came to do, not just win a match. Prove that humans belonged in this galaxy, that Earth had something to offer. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Questions, meetings, decisions about Earth's future role in galactic affairs. But tonight, Jake was just a fighter who had won when everyone said he would lose. And sometimes that was enough. Jake watched eyes, saw the calm confidence there, the certainty of victory. Begin. Jake moved. The undefeated champion had fallen.